The fifth state in the Union, but the first state in our hearts. The state of Connecticut has a long and storied history of success on and off the athletic fields, and 22 Threads is your go to apparel brand for all things CT. Visit the 22 Threads website at www.22threads.com to shop their stores and blue collar football apparel collections now. 10% of each item sold is donated to a local Connecticut nonprofit organization. Look good, do good, because you love CT. All right. I think the game that we're going to be talking about today, Jackson, is one that everyone's had kind of highlighted and circled on the calendar for a while. So we'll get to that in a second. But thanks again, as always, for hopping on with us.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
So we'll start. We'll look back a little bit at that BC game. I know we talked last week, rivalry game, almost 80 degrees. What was that game like last week?
Yeah. It was definitely weird playing a game like obviously 80 degrees in October. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, they were they did some good things and obviously they ran the ball really well offensively and they were able to dominate like time of possession, which made it tough for us. We weren't able to get them off the field and get our offense on the field as much as we'd like, which kind of like obviously hurt us because it was a one score game. We need to be able to get out there and give our offense more opportunities, kind of put some points on the board. But yeah, it was definitely a tough one. Obviously, we talked about it being a rivalry game too. So
Especially on a warm day when you and like the defense, have to spend a little bit more time out on the field. They're running the ball. They're really winning that time of possession battle. Like later in the fourth quarter, like are you guys really starting to feel it then?
yeah, definitely. I mean, this late in the season, we're kind of conditioned at this point. We played a lot of football, so you're in football shape for sure. Being like in this area, you're probably not as used to being in those temperatures. We didn't really play at all in those temperatures. Maybe when we were down in Houston a little bit or Georgia State, it was a little bit warmer, but that was earlier in the season. So it was definitely different, but it's definitely not an excuse for sure. We had to figure out a way to get them off the field and get our offense more opportunities.
I know we talked a little bit last week about their quarterback being a mobile quarterback. Guess held him in check relatively well. It seems like the second half maybe was no, if he was a little bit injured. They were referencing on the broadcast. Definitely a little bit of a different game plan in the second half. Is that how you guys felt it being out there?
Yeah, definitely. I think they were just trying to get us in fourth and manageable, third and manageable, and then trying to just run the ball. They felt like that's what they could do. And we did keep the quarterback in check for the most part, but when he had to make plays with his legs and get a few yards, he definitely got them and got those first downs, which is something that we have to be able to stop. But the running backs are kind of what hurt us more. They obviously had a big game and they were doing a lot on offense as far as like bringing in extra linemen and a lot of tight ends and stuff to kind of just run the ball, and it was tough for sure.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a Yukon fan owned business. And now, back to the interview. How frustrating is that being out there knowing that, they're running the ball a lot and you guys are just kind of struggling to come up with some stops there?
It's definitely frustrating, especially when like you can't expect to get a stop every single time, but when you finally get them to a third down, especially third and 7 plus, third and 8 plus, like that's where you want to be as defense. So those are kind of winning third downs for sure, and for them to be picking them up so easily, was very frustrating because obviously we're tired, we want to get off the field, but we also want to get our offense the ball, and not being able to do that, you kind of feel like you're hurting the team. So that's something that we just have to improve on.
I know. I mean, I'm not the biggest analytics guy. At the end of the day, like wins and losses are what matters. But when you see people who put out some reports on these analytics for this team, in some ways, this team, on paper from an analytics perspective, is better than last year's team, despite the wins and losses. Do you feel like this program's still making progress? That the rebuilding process that Coach Moore has been trying to do here.
Yeah, I do. Obviously, the everyone at the end of the day it comes down to the record. So
Yeah.
when you see the record, you're not going to be kind of encouraged by much. I do think they're making progress, and I think for me, something I've learned like in my time here is just that like through adversity and through times like this is kind of like they're able to like kind of shape you or break you. And I feel like the team has done a good job of letting this kind of like shape them and then they're learning from it and learning how to grow through it and taking experience with every single step that we take in this year that hopefully they'll be able to apply in the future as the team moves forward.
So let's look ahead to Saturday's game here, going down to Knoxville, which I feel is like one of those really quintessential college football towns. Yeah, I mean, you get to go play SEC teams, which doesn't happen all that often here at UConn. So how are you feeling heading into this one?
Yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, I've played some big games. We went down to Clemson and Michigan the past couple of years, so this is just another, big time opponent. They're ranked, which is, a good opportunity. And like when you grow up, these are kind of the games you think of, like playing in front of 85, 90,000 people. Sold out, big, loud stadium in SEC country. So that'll be a cool experience. But yeah, try not to treat it like any other game.
Yeah.
Like it's a business trip. It's not like we're down there just to see how Tennessee plays football, but it's definitely exciting and a cool experience, especially for the young guys who have not seen as many stadiums like that for sure.
Yeah. As you look at this Tennessee team on film, what stood out to you about them?
Yeah, I mean offensively they're the second fastest like as far as tempo team in the country. They're like a little bit ahead of how USF was, and USF was pretty fast when we played them. So, just getting set and getting on the ball and getting our hand in the dirt and getting lined up ready to go. So, at the snap we can kind of play downhill. And then, they're an SEC team, so they got really good athletes, at every position. They're going to try to get you in space. Their running backs are real dynamic, and obviously their quarterback, he's known for having a real strong arm, and you definitely see it on film. He can really launch that ball like, 60, 65 yards down the field. So just kind of keeping their athletes in check and when we're in space, making those open field tackles.
Yeah, I think it's going to make for an interesting matchup for sure there. I mean, we've got to jump now into our usually one of our favorite topics here as we get towards the end of these, and a Giants Jets game. I think that might have been a football masterpiece last Sunday. How do you feel about that? Hopefully, Daniel Jones back for you guys this week.
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating. I mean, it was a good defensive performance. Being a defensive guy, like seeing all those punts was nice. But yeah, you'd like to put some more points on the board, and that was a good drive at the end for the Jets to kind of send it to overtime. But yeah, I think it was a record for the amount of punts in a single game or something like that, which is kind of insane. But you'd like to come out with that one. I feel like if Daniel Jones were to play, we would have won. That's what I was telling people. But just gotta keep moving on.
I don't know if the timelines overlap. Did you play against DeVito? 'Cause I know he played for Syracuse. I'm not sure if you guys played against him or not.
No, I didn't play
Okay.
against him.
It
But I
might have been-
definitely remember him being at Syracuse and
yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I was gonna say like that'd be kind of funny. Here you are playing up against the guy and that now he's starting for your team there. Um, but no, I know Jackson. It's been a tough season, but I know everyone's still looking forward to what we've got here this final month here. So
Yeah, for sure.
head down to Tennessee and shock everyone.
Yeah, for sure. We're excited and we appreciate the support from the people that are still kind of watching the games and supporting us and everything we're doing every week.
Absolutely, keep it up. I know everyone here is pulling for you guys. So best of luck, safe trip down there, and enjoy Tennessee.
Appreciate it. Thank you.